welcome to the dialogue. I have a pear-shaped vagina. My name's Micah Mays.
And I'm Kyle. I have a apple-shaped uterus.
Wow.
My name's Gage, and both my parents are dead. Welcome to our podcast, the Dialogue podcast.
Yes, sir. Come clean my pipes, buddy, old pal.
Thanks for listening, everybody. You know what? We're just gonna jump right into this.
Let's just
All right, we're jumping into it. Wait, what was your question?
I have a good because it seems like one of the main topics today, the big discussions is gonna be streaming and whatnot. And I came across an interesting question recently on a podcast that I thought would be fun to ask you guys. Do you think in this streaming prevalent world, in this post-COVID world with streaming and not a lot of movie theaters open up, do you think there will ever be another big blockbuster number one at the box office movie style thing like Avengers Endgame or Titanic? Do you think it's even possible in a post-COVID world for a movie to make that much money in the theater?
Oh, yeah.
You do?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yes, question mark.
Okay.
I think it's...
I'm surprised. I'm interested in how confident you are about your answer. Because I might be...
You're saying that nothing will ever, cross that... Are you saying, a $2 billion mark at the box office? I think it will.
Okay.
I think,
There's always Avatar,
Avatar or whatever, but...
Huh. See, I think I'm actually more cynical about this. I don't think it is possible.
I think it is, because what's going to happen is theaters like AMC and stuff are going to refuse to show movies unless they do it exclusively to their theaters and not doing it on streaming as well.
I guess I could see that.
So that's the reason why, is because there's that. And also...
Wait, can you repeat what you just said?
Basically, movie theater chains are going to refuse showing companies movies if they say, we're going to stream it and put it in your theater. And they're going to go, you know what, don't bother putting it in our theater, because streaming's their competition. And companies like AMC have already done that, where they said, I think it was to Warner Brothers, maybe? I'm probably wrong, where they were just like, we're not showing your movies because you're putting it on streaming too.
Okay, I guess I'm confused by your point, though. What?
I'm saying that I can see a lot of companies saying that they're either you put it just in our movie theater and not on streaming, or you don't get them. And once,
Okay, so you're saying that movies can still make a lot of money in the theater because
they're going to have to make an ultimatum choice.
Studios are going to have to stick up for themselves, kind of.
They're going to have to be like, all right, we have to go to theaters because...
But that's assuming that studios really give a shit, though.
They'll make more money,
You think?
Oh, yeah,
okay.
They'll make more money.
That's also kind of this weird thing, is we don't really know how much money movies make on streaming.
Because you think about it, you think a family of like 5 or 6, they can, get a movie for $12, new streaming, when 5 or 6 of them, $15 a ticket or whatever, $10 a ticket, they're making like 5 times as much money. So they're going to want to do theaters because they'll just inherently make more money. So...
But then again, the theater gets some of that money, so I don't know, it's...
Yeah. It's a very small percentage. Most theaters get theirs from concessions. So.
I do find it very interesting that Netflix, arguably the biggest streaming platform out right now, just infamously does not release its numbers.
It's very strange.
Yeah.
I don't understand how streaming services even make money. Yeah, they have subscriptions and stuff, but then how do those companies that make those original
seems to be
Netflix movies...
Yeah, it seems to be a lot less...
Show us your taxes, Netflix. I want to see your tax report.
# release the Netflix tax.
Yeah, it seems to be a lot less straightforward because if you get... Obviously, Netflix makes money through subscriptions, and then they use that money to buy movies, and then they pay the people who own the movies by the number of watches they get. So I don't know.
Because how is Netflix supposed to make money? But how are I guess, is Netflix their own studio?
Yeah, well, they produce their own movies.
So...
now.
Oh, gosh. So they got to make money from the people who have their subscriptions, and I'm guessing from the money from the subscriptions, they use a percentage of it to make the movies, and then...
From what I understand, Netflix is still, millions of dollars in debt. I think it's in the 30 million or something like that.
That's not good.
They've been in debt for a while, because they spend so much money on original... But what do they didn't they announce that they're gonna have like a new TV show or movie like every week or something like that?
I could see in like 15 years that Netflix we're gonna be like, remember Netflix?
No, well, here's the thing about Netflix is it's like, even though they're in debt, I still think I have a lot of respect for them as a business, because I think I can see where their head's at. Because I feel like a year or so ago we were like, before Disney Plus came out, we were like, oh shit, how is like, we got Disney Plus, we got Peacock coming out,
HBO Max.
HBO Max. How is Netflix gonna survive? And I'll tell you how they survive, because Netflix still has a niche that like services like Disney Plus doesn't have, and that's like the for now anyway, the adult,
The Devil All the Time, like that type.
Well,
of shit.
also think about how many Netflix movies get nominated for Academy Awards just these past few years.
Do they? I thought
The Irishman.
The Irishman.
Oh yeah.
And I think there's another one or a few others. I know there's a lot.
Mank probably.
Well, there's gonna be a lot this year,
Yeah.
especially.
I mean, yeah.
And so I think that's where their heads at, is because you're gonna see like their shows like The Office and probably eventually like Breaking Bad.
Dexter's just left.
A lot of these shows. Oh really?
Yikes.
A lot of these shows that like bring in
But-
a lot of eyeballs. Like they're slowly investing in original programming. Now, granted, not all of it is gonna stick, obviously.
Cobra
but like,
Kai is an original. It's technically right now they bought it off YouTube Red, but Cobra Kai is a Netflix original now, and it's like the #1 streaming thing in like the world.
But I mean, if you look at like
think.
their original programming, like it's getting pretty stacked. Like it's like Netflix is known for like they own Stranger Things.
Yeah.
Like, regardless how
Oh,
you feel
forgot
about that show, that was like their first big hit. They were responsible for like the Daredevil shows when those were still on, which I hope they bring at least Daredevil back.
It low key upsets me though, because now like I won't be able to get like Blu-rays of like, because they're just like, oh, you have to get our streaming service on our
Slowly but surely.
They sometimes they release
I
Blu-rays.
feel like I'm never gonna get Bird Box, and I'm never gonna get The Devil All the Time. Like,
I think The Irishman.
got a Criterion.
but that's the thing.
And Stranger Things
is
The Meyerowitz stories.
it's always things.
That was a Netflix.
It's always things
Yeah.
I don't care about that get them.
But what I'm saying is, they're at least trying to do it.
Yeah.
Marriage Story is a
Yep,
Netflix
yep,
original.
yep.
Like they're really like
Yeah.
like they have some. I mean, I think they're finding out what their niche is, and it's the like.
But
Maze
Yeah.
behind me. It's like the Oscar nod artsy crowd.
Yeah.
Which Disney doesn't even have.
Yeah, the thing I like about Netflix is it seems like a very filmmaker friendly company to work for, and I
Right.
think that's very attractive to filmmakers. I mean, if you get Martin Scorsese to make a movie for you, then
So I think ideally, sorry, I know you keep trying to talk.
no, I feel like we're both interrupting each other, just like.
But it's like I'm like very passionate about this.
Yeah, I get you.
I've been a very advocator, I've been a very big advocator.
Avocado. I've been a huge avocado.
Been a huge avocado for Netflix. Despite obviously, I know we really like took the piss out of Cuties when that came out.
Took the piss out of cuties.
Yeah, that's a very European phrase,
You
but
British boy.
I still stand. Yeah, I know. I'm just a weeaboo. I just want to move to London.
Yeah.
I feel like that's how I'm seen through.
oh yeah,
I'm just a London boy.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm just rambling.
Back to the original
else
question
is
of
new?
like something being a big box office thing. I don't see something, especially like Marvel, MCU, their movies. I don't see them like, oh, we're only like partially open. We'll release our movies now. It's fine. Like for Spider-Man 3, if they do that into the Spider-Verse thing, and presumably I would say at least like 75% of theaters are open, I would say that movie makes $1.5 billion easy.
Yeah, I mean, I would like to think that. It's just like, if things don't get much better, I think because of a mix of things with just having, I mean, I think regardless, it was headed in this direction, where movies were going to hit streaming way sooner. And I think there's still going to be a lot of people post-COVID who are like I don't know about going to the theater and packed crowd. So you're going to have a lot of people not going to the theater anymore. I mean, this was already happening.
It was just escalating.
So I think it's just, we're just kind of like, we've progressed like 15 years in like 1 year, basically.
When I go back to working at the movie theater, I will make it my duty to make sure that anybody who goes to our movie theater has a fantastic experience. I'm going to kick everyone off their phones, make sure no one's talking.
I'm gonna wipe their asses.
I'm gonna wipe. If you're being a good audience member, I'll wipe your ass for you. I'm gonna do my darndest to make sure you have a good experience at our theater, because I'm with you. I'm pissed off at how people act in movie theaters now. So I'm here for you.
Come on down to old Yakima Cinema.
Not the cinema, the Majestic. The cinema's for crackheads.
Can I say something about people who say they don't like going to the movies because of like annoying people?
They probably are the annoying people.
I actually, everyone and their mother says that. That's the reasoning. I actually just think most of it is just people being lazy. And they just don't want to leave their house.
Well,
that's okay, but it's just like,
really,
I think that's...
Say what it is, you know?
Just be honest.
It's really frustrating because my parents are always like, you're always on your phone. Why are you always on your phone? And then my parents will say, like, they want to watch something. And then, like, I'll put it on or I'll put something on for them. And it's like, yeah, I'm really interested in watching that. And I look around and I'm the only one watching it. My mom's playing, like, fucking Candy Crush on her phone. My dad's looking up, like, his fantasy football score. And my little brother's playing a Super Mario 64 emulator. So it's like... I really just think that you want to be one of those people that can just take out their phone in the movie theater, but you have too much self-respect, so you just don't bother and stay at home and do that on your couch.
Which I'd rather them do.
Which I would rather you do, but don't say, oh, those annoying people ruin the theater experience. No, I don't, no.
Yeah, but, yeah, I don't know,
I also think it depends where you live, too, because I've also seen that, like, in other countries, people tend to be more respectful than other countries.
What countries have you been to?
Not that I've been
I know,
to.
I'm just messing with you.
I've just heard, you know.
The theater in Ellensburg, if you ever up in Central Washington, the theater in Ellensburg is really good.
We also live in a smaller, like, rural area, so there's, like... Well, I mean, it depends on the movie you see, but there tends to be, like, a lot of, like...
Dear God. Don't try and
older
see...
folk and less of them, you know? It's like...
Don't try and see a rated R superhero movie in... Yakima. Jeez.
If you go to like a movie like, I don't know, like The Lighthouse or something where there was like two people there.
And the guy left. Were you there when we saw The Lighthouse and the guy left halfway through so it was just us?
I actually think the worst movies to see in theaters are like PG-13 horror movies.
Oh, absolutely.
Because then like it's just like 14, 15-year-old kids on dates and they're just obnoxious.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Noxious. Those are the worst.
I've seen kids like basically vaping in the theater.
Oh yeah.
Dude, oh my gosh. I don't want to get on side tangents, but one time a customer blew a vape in my face when I was kicking him out. Whew, I've never been so heated. Sorry, I don't want to get on a side tangent, but just respect people, man. That's all I ask. Respect people.
Yeah. Well, that was interesting.
I feel like
I think we can get there.
As you're defending the theater, you're like also like, wait a minute.
There's a lot of pros and cons. Like, you know, you don't want to watch Tenet on your TV at home. You like, that's a movie I feel like you need to see big. You need to hear those visuals. Like movies like that, you know.
Need to hear those visuals. Is that what you're saying?
Hear that audio.
How does it go? How does it go?
What?
The Tenet song?
Yeah.
Moving on.
All right, so next we're going to be talking about the HBO Max and Netflix lineup trailers.
Perfect.
No.
Speaking of streaming,
I don't wanna. I'm just kidding.
All right.
I think more people need to go to the theaters and watch movies. Oh, the HBO Max lineup looks pretty interesting. But I mean, in theory, theaters could be open.
Yeah.
By the time like Godzilla vs. Kong comes out or something, assuming that's the case, then we could have the option to go to the theater.
I'm so contradicting myself.
But why would you go to the theater if you get it for free on HBO Max? So tough.
I do like that they're doing the same day streaming thing where they're releasing them in theaters the same day that they're releasing it on HBO Max.
See, what I think...
Because then you have that option.
What I think is even after all this COVID shit, they're going to hold on to that. And that'll be the norm. Where it's like, it comes out on streaming the same day. Or it comes out, or it's like... What I think they should do, if they're going to keep that, they should do it so, like, maybe the first weekend you can only exclusively see it in the theater, and then after that
I would say up to,
so there's still an incentive, you know?
I would say up to, like, a month. I would say have a month in theaters and then put it on your streaming
More or
service.
less, that's what we have now, to a certain extent.
Yeah.
I think the best plan that theaters could go for is just they need to just start accepting the fact that mainstream, like, average people are going to probably stop going to the theater. So they need to, like, start optimizing on the people who appreciate the experience the most.
Yeah.
And figure out how they give them incentives. Stop worrying about the people who go to the theater once a year and trying to get them to come.
Yeah.
Focus on the people who love movies and are there once a week.
But here's the thing.
Keep them there instead of trying to get everybody to go.
Here's also the thing of, like, and I've probably said this before on the podcast, but, like, there's a vast number of movies that have come out in the past, like, 5 or so years that probably wouldn't have gotten made if, you know, it was just, like, the traditional theater system, you know, like, like a lot of these smaller movies.
Oh,
that,
yeah.
Like, I love Marriage Story. I don't know if I would necessarily have to see it in the theater.
Yeah, but I still would want the option,
Right.
not to see every movie in theaters, but
like,
you know.
what I'm saying is there's probably a bunch of movies now that wouldn't even have gotten made if it weren't for streaming.
Oh yeah.
So it's sort of like
That's my I don't want to get into too much into this because this is a whole part in, like, my script or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh.
But yeah, I mean, that's a huge thing for me is, like, the people who are so unapologetically pro theater and anti streaming forget about the fact that, like, streaming services and stuff have basically opened the door for indie filmmaking.
Yeah.
Where that wasn't really a possibility, like, from, like, early 90s back, you know,
Right.
like, it started with the 90s and stuff, but then, like, streaming got introduced, and now literally anybody can make a movie. Some people think that's a bad thing. I don't see how that's a bad thing, you know?
I mean, yeah, you're going to get a more oversaturated market, but, like,
The more people making movies, the more good movies are made. Yeah, there's bad
You're gonna
movies,
have
but
you're gonna have both. You're gonna have you know good and bad movies put out there.
But I don't
now
see-
there's even more, there's way more options now, so you don't even have to sit through the bad shit. if
Well,
you don't
yeah, and
want
what
to.
my issue with that conversation
And you can
is-
find out whether a movie's good or bad within,
Yeah.
like, seconds it comes
exactly.
out.
You can see there are some people who definitely view this as a bad thing. I think there's a couple people in the side by side documentary who kind of say this, and it's like, what are you trying to say here?
Okay, I love that documentary, but, like, it is low key just, like, directors throwing shade at each other for an hour and a half.
Well, like, there's
If
this.
you shoot on digital, you're a fucking cuck
Well, there was
bitch.
an insinuation. I think there was an insinuation about the market being, like, what did you use? Oversaturated.
Yeah.
And then like the fact that everybody can make a movie now, and it's like, would you prefer filmmaking to be this, like, very small club of, like, old white guys who can make movies?
There are some people out there that would still prefer it. I'm like I think Tarantino to a certain
Well, you
extent.
go back to, like, what did they call it? Like the
I mean, I don't.
wasn't that the Rat Pack days where it's like, or no, that's a different thing.
That's like Anthony Michael Hall and like all those teen actors.
Oh, that's a different thing.
Yeah.
There's a name for the Spielberg era.
Oh, it was the I forget the name.
I just heard it.
It was like the Film Geeks or something.
Something.
The Film Geek podcast.
And I'm not saying those guys believed in this at all, but what I'm saying is, like, you look back to that day and age, and it's like, there's only, like, a handful of people that you can really point to.
All those guys were USC students.
Okay.
So they were all, like, rich.
Like George Lucas, I think, is in
Yeah,
that
George
same-
Lucas, Steven Spielberg,
Coppola?
Francis Ford Coppola,
Yeah.
a couple others. I don't remember.
So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I just want more movies and more good movies. I mean,
Yeah.
if there's more bad movies, that doesn't harm me, but if there's more good movies, that's great. You know? What does a bad movie do to you? What is, you know?
Waste your time.
I don't know. Sorry, go ahead.
Back to the HBO Max, Netflix trailers.
Yeah. We could talk about, like, the specific stuff that... I guess the HBO Max one is probably...
Dude.
I don't know.
I didn't like the Godzilla or the Kong movies, like, really, but that looks fun. It looks so good.
Yeah, and again, I also just think it just because movies are coming out and there's trailers, it's like, holy shit.
Space Jam 2. Whoa, that looked...
Yeah, like, I don't know, I think it's just seeing some new movies that are going to be released, like, there's just something about it. It's been a while, so it's exciting, you know?
I've
New
been
trailers.
waiting.
It's exciting to watch it at home in my underwear, scratching my ass.
Mm-hmm.
I've been waiting since the age of -4 for Space Jam 2. like
Negative before you were conceived.
yeah.
Yeah.
And like I was like worried about it because I was like, oh, it could look bad. But that glimpse I saw, I was like, there is light at the end of this tunnel.
And then there's an Eastwood movie in that trailer too.
Oh,
but
really?
I don't know what it is. I just saw a shot of him. He's got a cowboy hat on. I don't think it's a Western though, but we'll see.
I'm already like pre-sleeping for Clint Eastwood's next
I've
movie.
seen like 2 Eastwood movies.
I've seen 3. You asshat.
Congratulations.
I've seen.
There's not a lot. Like I remember images from the Netflix one, but I can't like pick out like specific movies. Like I know there was one.
They didn't do a good job of telling you what
Yeah.
the movies were. They were just showing shots.
like Leonardo DiCaprio with like some big cast, and I was like, whoa.
They just showed a PNG for The Matrix, and it just says
Oh,
The Matrix.
Well, that was, yeah,
It didn't
HBO.
even say 4. It just said Matrix.
I was like, okay.
Well, they're still filming it, I think.
Well, if people didn't know any better, they would just think that they were releasing the first Matrix.
They're already on there,
I
all
know,
3 of
I know.
them.
Remastered in 4K.
Yeah, so
4K.
what other HBO Max trailers were there?
I just remember the Godzilla and Space Jam 2 ones.
Those are the ones that stick out.
I know there's more.
That's
Yeah.
all that matters.
And then what about Netflix? What Netflix ones were there? You couldn't really name any of them. it
No,
was
the
just shots.
Leonardo DiCaprio one was the one I was talking about.
Yeah, I remember just being like, what?
Is that the Adam McKay movie?
Yeah,
Is it? Oh, it's an Adam McKay.
We
movie.
talked about an Adam McKay movie like a few episodes ago.
Vice.
No, not Vice. Where like all that was released about it was the cast, and it just
Oh, it was that movie.
It was endless.
Yeah,
was
it just looked like he went down his row at the Oscars and was like, "Do all you guys want to be in a fucking movie?"
That
It was
sounds
like
awesome.
Leonardo DiCaprio, like
Jennifer Lawrence.
what's her fuck? Meryl Streep was it? Like,
Of course she is.
yeah, like it was just like an Oscar lineup.
Forgot
basically.
Jennifer Lawrence existed.
So we joked that it would probably be like a climate change thing or something very
Probably.
political.
Yeah. So I guess there's not that much else to talk about in
just
terms
excited stuff's coming out.
Of, yeah.
Yeah.
Space Jam 2.
Anyway, what's the next thing?
Speaking of things that are coming out, me.
Will you be my boyfriend? Play a game with me, Raymond.
Play a game of patty cake.
All right, so next we're going to talk about
Just no response.
people or film productions that are just straight up refusing to go out on streaming. First of all, Christopher Nolan. Christopher Nolan has said that he's not going to be doing business with Warner Brothers. He said it's very unlikely that he'll be doing business with Warner Brothers anymore because they want to do all their stuff to HBO Max. And Top Gun Maverick. They said that there's no way in hell that they're going to streaming. Like I think Netflix tried to purchase it. And I want to say, I think Amazon Prime tried to purchase it, and they said no amount of money will like make us sell this to you. It's going out in theaters.
Okay, a couple things. First of all, like I have a lot of respect for Christopher Nolan for sticking to his guns.
Yeah, I'm glad there are people like
but
that.
he's also like in a
Did
very
you say guns?
yeah, sticking to his guns.
Guns? Say guns.
Somebody say
I'm
guns.
just joking.
M16?
M16.
Semi-automatic?
It's my time.
Semi-automatic.
Oh no, AR-15 is what not M60. That's a different gun.
You said M16.
That's like an
That was
army
just so
anyway.
MI6.
Am I Mission Impossible? Ghost Proto Dick.
funny. Ghost Proto Dick.
Anyway,
No.
yeah, I have a lot of respect for Nolan, but also I'm thinking, I mean, he's in a pretty fucking like privileged,
Yeah.
like that he has that power to be like,
But his
No.
movies are like specifically his movies
Yeah.
are ones that I feel like have to
that's
come out in
also
theaters.
fucking huge because I like how long has Christopher Nolan been fucking working with Warner Brothers? Like
Yeah.
holy shit,
Yeah.
like The Dark Knight.
The
Other
Dark Knight.
other ones. I think Inception's a Warner Brothers movie.
Aren't all of his Interstellar, Dunkirk, like all that?
I think so. I don't know if Memento is. Memento might
That's
be.
older.
Memento.
Memento, is that what I said?
It's my memento.
Memento. Memento.
Uno momento. That's the first one. Momento dos.
By Christopher Nolan.
Christopher Nolan, starring Pedro Pascal.
I think Nolan is gonna be the most outspoken person about this, but I think that there's gonna be more people who come out against this as time goes on because filmmakers like Tarantino, he doesn't have a movie coming out right now, but if he
Yeah.
did, I guarantee you
Oh,
he would not
yeah.
be like
wasn't it Scorsese that
We're going straight to streaming.
wasn't it Scorsese that a year ago was like I refuse to work with streaming.
Yeah, I don't.
And
that's
now,
what I thought too.
and then The Irishman, and now he's working with Apple
Wow.
TV.
That's what I thought,
What
too.
a cuck.
That's what I thought too, because I was confused by that as well.
We just talked about Christopher Nolan refusing to go on streaming, and now a specific movie, a particular movie, Top Gun Maverick, is refusing to go on streaming as well. And I hope Tom Cruise is like kind of the reason why, because I know
That'd be cool.
Tom Cruise kind of loves movies, so
Yeah.
I could see him being like, no, my movie needs to come out in theaters.
Oh yeah, isn't there like a clip of him watching Tenet in the theater with like a mask on?
Yeah, I watched that. That was really fun.
Yeah.
Why hasn't Tom Cruise been in a Nolan movie? That'd be cool.
He needs to be.
Why hasn't Tom Cruise been in like just like a drama in like a decade?
Yeah, he's got to be like the action star, Jack Reacher, Ethan Hunt. So I don't know. I definitely think, especially with that director, I don't remember his name, but he did Oblivion, not Krasinski, Joseph
I know who you're talking about.
John
Jingleheimer Schmidt. But that guy, he did Oblivion. He has fucking amazing cinematography.
Oh, yeah, no, his cinematography
So, like,
is really good too.
That's a movie, especially with the sound and stuff.
Yeah, I
and
agree.
it's just a movie that needs to
I mean,
be
that looks like
in theaters.
That's like the definition of an IMAX movie.
I think it's Joseph Kaczynski.
Sounds
Kaczynski.
Sounds like a fake name.
I am-
Joseph Kaczynski.
am Joseph Kaczynski.
Kaczynski.
All right, so I don't know. I just think that's cool. Any other thoughts on that little shindig?
I think it's cool that they're standing up for their movies in a theater-going experience, because not enough people are right now. 'Cause
Agreed.
People are kind of being pussy asses.
Correct.
Like me. I am the ass of a puss.
All right.
I can't drive more than 2 hours. Fuck you.
Why you gonna bring up
I'm
dirt
sorry.
right
I'm
on the
sorry.
podcast?
All right. We're gonna talk about the that was my bad. That was uncalled for. We're gonna talk about the Cherry trailer.
Fine.
You guys are very excited about Cherry, so go ahead and talk.
That's my belly.
All right. I've said this like a million times. I'll say it again. I definitely feel like people just see Tom Holland as like this blockbuster star, and kind of like Dwayne Johnson.
Oh my God! I just feel everybody's like.
Whenever anybody talks about me, it sounds like this. He's like people. I like when I hear I don't hear comparisons, but it's like Dwayne Johnson, where it's like Dwayne Johnson isn't actually that great of an actor, but like he's a cool blockbuster movie star, and I feel like that's how people see Tom Holland, and I've said it a million times, but I think he's starting to show through like The Devil All the Time and like the trailer for this and stuff. He's like a legit like great actor. I think he's.
Do you think people really don't think he's a good actor though, or like?
I hear that like all the time.
I think he just looks like he's 15. That's the problem.
I know that's the thing, is no one takes him seriously because he looks so
But it
young.
isn't about his acting. I don't think it's about. I mean, after The Devil All the Time came out, I think people like automatically are like, "All right, he's a good actor. We know that for sure."
I think it's
But
just-
he was also in a movie called The Impossible that he was really good in. Too.
I don't think it's this. I don't
Are
think.
you okay?
No, I don't think the stigma is that people don't think he's a good actor. I think the stigma is more, he's a good actor, but it's hard for me not to see him as Spider-Man,
It's
which
hard
is
for me-
understandable.
yeah, it's just
it's
hard
kind of
for
like
me-
every time Tobey Maguire's in a movie, it's like, fucking Peter Parker.
Or like Daniel Radcliffe. You're like, I'm blind!
Exactly.
I don't have that issue. I just think it's just how he just looks so young, and I'm waiting for. I mean, he looks. It's weird. I mean, I'm assuming. It seems like Cherry was filmed before The Devil All the Time because he looks a lot younger in Cherry.
That might just be his hair.
It might just be his hair.
He also loses 10 pounds and gains 10 pounds over the course of the movie.
He looks. Okay, maybe it's not even his. I think it's more so the role in Cherry that I mean, I've only seen the trailer, so I don't know.
Yeah.
But I don't know. There's something about the role of him and the girl. It feels like kind of like a really low budget independent film where like they cast young people to play like older characters. You know how you see like dorky little short films where like kids will play like secret agents or something.
Mm-hmm.
Not like it's not that bad, but like I can't help but think that for some reason because they both look just so young.
Do you think it fit? Like he fit his age range in The Devil All the Time?
Yeah, I feel like he fit
Was
the
he still
character.
in school in that, or like just got out of school or something?
Oh, in real life or the character?
The character.
Oh, I don't remember. I know he was supposed to be like a young guy,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and he's supposed to be a young guy in Cherry too. He's supposed to be around 23, which I think Tom Holland is like 23 or 24 in real life.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's not like he's just, you know, he's just got a young face.
Yeah, that's all it is.
You
Well,
know.
and it's also it's less about, I think it's less about Tom Holland and more just about the character that he's seemingly playing in Cherry, because this is a specific thing for
Okay, so
Cherry
it's like
for
just-
me.
just-
No, yeah, I don't think it's not a Tom Holland issue. My only issue with Tom Holland as far as like being casted is I'm like, well, let's just not cast him in everything because he's popular.
Right.
Like
Which seems to be the
right, which is something
trend
I was worried about with the
that's
Devil All the
happening.
Time, but he was perfect
I
for
think
it.
I agree. It was
he's
casted
doing
perfectly.
a healthy Miley Cyrus where he's trying to
Interesting example.
like get out of that like Spider-Man young kid, like
Yeah.
kind of awkward and quirky. I think he's like trying to get out of that a little bit. And another thing that probably makes it really hard is like 16-year-old girls that are just like, oh my gosh, Tom Holland. Oh, I don't
See,
care.
yeah, I don't see that because I'm not on social media, so you
Yeah.
probably can speak more to that.
So that's really annoying when it's like, wow, that guy's a really great actor, and then like some like 14-year-old pokes their head in there like, yeah, his abs are so sexy. It's like, shut the fuck up. Just like,
I just
don't watch movies. Kill
shouldn't
yourself.
You shouldn't even like listen to those people though, Mike.
I work with them.
Oh,
Worked, I
yeah.
guess, prior.
I mean, people still do that with Robert Pattinson. So
Dear
I mean,
God.
fucking-
Yeah, that's
You're always
that's
gonna,
accurate.
you're always gonna have that. It's whatever. People still do it with Daisy Ridley.
See, I think what's interesting too about like
What?
They do. They exist.
Daisy
Do
Ridley.
you meant? Yeah, Daisy Ridley. Do you
What
know?
about Daisy?
They still do the like. There's like the little online fandoms. You know, like
Oh, Raylo, hashtag Raylo.
How
Oh,
I don't-
Kylo and Rey, I guess.
Oh, okay.
They're just shipping them together, where they're
Oh.
trying to make it like a deep love thing.
Anyway,
I don't know.
what I was gonna say is I think it's interesting that like Robert Pattinson and Tom Holland started out as like more like like a teen. I mean, I don't know. Like Spider-Man is different from Twilight, obviously, but like
Yeah.
like
Hey, he started out in Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire before Twilight, so
well, yeah. Anyway, what I mean is like they attracted like a younger audience,
Mm-hmm.
and they were both like heartthrobs,
Yeah.
whatever.
yeah.
But what's funny is it's seeming like Robert Pattinson, because it's like, oh, he's trying to rebel against, like, he doesn't want to be typecast, but I think it's more safe to say that, like, Twilight was the weird role for him.
oh yeah.
He's definitely, like, defined himself as a dramatic actor later on.
That's why it irritates.
And I think Tom Holland, I think we're going to find that out about Tom Holland. He's not
Yeah.
a comedic actor, maybe. It seems
Well,
like...
his dad is actually like a fairly famous comedian.
Okay.
In Europe.
Okay.
So he actually like.
has a comedic
British.
background then.
I mean, just because he was raised, you know.
It just irritates me that like that's like you said, that seems like the one weird role for Robert Pattinson. So when I hear people saying Edward should not be the Batman, and it's just like,
Well, those people have
I-
only watched blockbuster movies.
I know.
I mean,
you
I
know?
feel like that...
they don't watch like.
To be
The
honest, though,
Lighthouse.
Micah, I don't even think if there's people still saying that Robert Pattinson shouldn't be Batman because of Twilight.
They
like,
haven't been paying
There's
attention.
probably like honestly, there's probably like most of those people must be like mentally retarded.
they probably
Sorry.
it's probably the people
It's
that
either like 70-year-old like old people who like have never seen like more than like 4 movies in their life, or it's like 14-year-old girls, you know. I'm excited for Cherry because I'm more excited because I'm interested to see what the Russo brothers.
I
are
just
gonna
really
do.
want to see that cherry pop. I'm just really
Right.
Oh, gross. So yeah, I am also excited for Cherry. I'm interested in. Well, the trailer was interesting because I think the trailer's good, but after that like 30-second clip release, which you haven't, I guess either of you haven't seen,
yeah.
it almost seems like, I mean, the clip has almost like a slightly different tone than the trailer, because the trailer kind of like, the trailer, while it's obviously a drama, it definitely seems like it has this like over stylized like vibe to the whole thing. You know what I mean? Like he's addressing the camera. He's it's all kind of takes
Like
place in his head.
reminds me of, it's almost trying to be Lord of War a little bit.
Wait, he addresses
Or
the
at least
camera?
it's trying to be marketed like that.
I can kind of see that.
Does he break the
comparison.
fourth wall?
Yeah, he does in the trailer.
I guess for some reason.
Remember,
I guess
he
I
was
missed it.
robbing the bank, and he's like, it's like you're mostly robbing women, so the last thing you want to be is rude. He's addressing the camera when he says that. He's looking at us.
I thought that was just narration.
Yeah, I don't remember that, but I'll take your word for it.
He definitely does it throughout.
Okay.
So it definitely seems like it has, and like with photos that have come out, like he's standing in front of the bank, and the bank says literally like "shitty bank" like in a logo. So it kind of seems like there's gonna be some like
Meta weird
surreal like
Okay, cool.
parts of it take place in his head. I wouldn't surprise me. I'm calling it now. This seems like the type of movie that'll probably be like it'll start like at the end, and then it'll have like a
Probably.
the narrative. Will
See,
be all over
if
the
I'm being
place.
completely honest, I probably wouldn't be seeing this movie if like just some random ass actor was in it, but I'm just like so interested in like where Tom Holland's career goes.
Yeah.
And I just like him as an actor.
Well,
so.
here's the thing. I mean, I am excited for Tom Holland to be in it, and I agree with a lot of the things you said about him, growing as an actor and him having a lot of, because he seems like he's really good in this. But I also like, not enough people are talking about how this is like, because this movie is actually based off a book, like I said in the group chat. I don't know if you guys. Yeah, so this movie's based off a book that actually came out like in 2018 with the same title, and it's written by like a guy who is I could tell it's bothering him so much.
I wish this table didn't spin. Anyway.
Let me just hold it.
The book was written by, I mean, it's basically like a
Autobiography.
well, again, they use different names, but it's essentially like a semi-autobiographical. And the author who wrote it is basically like Cherry in the movie, basically Tom Holland's character. Like he was a veteran who like got addicted to drugs and started robbing banks. And I think he was still in prison when they were shooting this movie. That's cool. Like they said that like for whatever reason Tom Holland wasn't allowed.
Why did I say that's cool?
He was still in prison. That's so.
I think
That's
dope.
rad.
I think it's cool that somebody wrote a book while in prison. I just think that's because that's
Yeah.
exactly how I would want to use my time in prison if I went to prison.
But like, so yeah, I guess like
That's the way my mind works.
in an interview recently, Tom Holland said he wasn't allowed to talk.
Micah,
to
you
the-
look like a melting ice cream cone. Can you like sit up? Or
Sorry, I'm
something?
comfortable, ass shit fuck face.
Yeah, I'm really excited for Cherry because of Tom Holland.
I just find it interesting because nobody's really talking about the fact that like Tom Holland's essentially like playing a real life person.
Yeah.
And like to what degree they're gonna try to like, actually like replicate his like mannerisms and his voice and is like it's still yet to be seen, because I don't know what the table.
Every time I look, it's like
I put my coffee down. That's what happened.
it's for the mic. That's the only reason. Is 'cause
I know, but that's what turned the table.
Does this sound weird? Whoa!
You fucking retard.
I hate everything you stand for.
Why did you do that? There was a water, a coffee, a cactus, a microphone.
Every time somebody talks, I'm gonna be like,
Turn the mic towards them.
so much could have gone wrong with everything you
I know that was.
are.
I can't believe nothing fell except for my phone. All right, so Cherry.
You're a monster.
I have a question.
I have an answer.
Cherry is about. I'm assuming, right? It's about a guy with he has PTSD, right? I'm
So
assuming
the
that's-
story is this guy, like him and this girl, they meet, he joins the army for whatever reason. From the trailer, it kind of seems like it's just like he's trying to search, he's a young guy trying to search for his purpose, feels very, whatever. Goes to the army, this is I think during like the Iraq, are we still at war with Iraq? I don't fucking
Probably
know.
Afghanistan.
I don't really think so.
All right. Well, yeah, it's sort of during that era, and like he's like a medic. He's an army medic, and he goes through some traumatic shit. And after that, because of his PTSD, he gets addicted to. I mean, it sounds like he becomes like a fucking heroin addict.
So he does have PTSD.
Yeah. So he's.
That's what I thought.
So it's a pretty, and then he ends up robbing banks. So it's like a pretty fucking like wild ass.
I don't know anything about the story, but like I sometimes I get nervous with movies that deal with PTSD because I never think they do a very good job with it.
Yeah.
They just don't depict it
I
accurately.
think the best movie. I mean, yeah. I mean, I don't know. I don't have PTSD, but what I do know about PTSD is most people get it by things that they do, not things that they see.
Interesting.
And that's why I
Gotcha.
love Brothers so much.
Because they can't like forgive themselves.
I don't
want
want to not like to give. I won't spoil the movie, but Tobey Maguire's character does something pretty horrendous.
Does he
in
kill
that
his brother?
movie. No, he does something pretty bad in that movie, and that's why he gets PTSD. And I think that was
Interesting.
really
Well,
well handled.
from what I understand, this
Oh,
might
I
be
wanna see
kind
that
of a
movie.
spoiler, but like again, they say it in the marketing and shit, and it's also based off like a true story. So it's like quote unquote. So he was an army medic, and it sounds like he like couldn't save certain people, and he was like one of the only survivors in his like troop or whatever. So I think that's sort of like what.
Survivor's Guilt, probably. too.
Yeah,
I
something
love
like
Hacksaw
that.
Ridge.
I do too. Yeah.
Didn't I feel like Brawl? Didn't Brawl have some PTSD elements to it? I feel like it dealt with really well, or maybe I'm thinking of a different movie.
I think you might be thinking of a different movie, unless I'm just like forgetting. Maybe it
Oh,
was.
you know what? I'm thinking of American Sniper. I haven't seen.
Oh,
I haven't seen
yeah.
the whole thing, but I've heard a lot of people talk about
Oh,
how
yeah.
accurate it is.
Definitely. Well, yeah, because like he shoots children in that movie.
That's so sad.
I mean, like in real life, he
Yeah.
shot children.
Bradley Cooper shot.
Yeah,
children.
Bradley. Yeah, Clint Eastwood made
It's
him
so
shoot children.
really in character.
It's so weird that like I know what you're talking about, but it's like I can talk about a movie in such detail that I have not even fucking seen all
Isn't
the way
that weird?
through.
I know that is weird.
Yeah.
I don't know how you do that.
All right, we want.
I don't know. I'm on the internet too much, so
Yeah.
I watch trailers and
Yeah, I'm excited for Cherry. I hope it's good. It doesn't look amazing, but I also think it just seems like a movie that would be hard to market.
I
So I'm gonna
feel-
try to keep my expectations.
It's.
I think they're sorry, but I think they're fucking themselves
Yeah,
with
I
how
agree
they're
with what you
marketing this
said.
movie because they're already throwing like best picture,
Yeah.
like, and then like also the Russo brothers are saying that this movie is about the opioid epidemic, which barely I think maybe I don't know I haven't seen it.
It's something I could see myself being like, all right, this is fine, or like The Devil All the Time, where I'm like pleasantly surprised and
I
I'm like,
could see it being similar to The Devil All the Time.
Yeah.
how
I could
feel
see
about
it being good. I don't think it'll walk away with like best picture.
Yeah, me either.
Like I said in the group chat, I watch it. It'll end up because the Russo brothers are attached, and
it's technically a 2021 movie, right?
is it? I think it technically premiered in 2020. So I think
Yeah, I
that's
don't
how I don't know.
So I know on this we get a little political sometimes, and I know we have talked about like, oh, we see a lot of we don't see a lot of movies or shows with like conservative values and that kind of thing.
Specifically because
And yeah,
we're almost exclusively liberal Hollywood.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I was trying to say. Thank you. So I found a show that is actually, and it's really interesting. I'm doing that thing where I don't actually say the title. I didn't tell you guys the title because I knew
the fucking title, Jesus.
I knew you guys would say no if I asked to talk about this. So it's Cobra Kai, and yeah, I immediately just. Yeah, hold on. So,
Interesting.
Cobra Kai, and what's interesting is this is like the #1 streaming thing on Netflix, and so like majority of people seem to be left-leaning, so the fact that it just like goes over their heads is like, okay, so here are the 3 examples that I thought of.
I like how this isn't even movie news. It's just like
You guys said you wanted to talk about TV shows on here and stuff, right?
if we've all seen it, I guess, but sure.
But it's a concern, like it's, I
Go
found
ahead, go
something
ahead.
that's,
I know,
alright.
we're excited for you.
All right, so
This
there
is cute.
are
This is
multiple
so cute.
times.
Look at him. He likes the show.
Fuck you guys. So what's interesting is that the people that make kind of a mockery of like they talk about the whole like safe space and pronouns, and the people that make a mockery of that are the antagonists in the show. Literally, they get the protagonists in the show in trouble by being like, they're in a high school setting and the guy would be being a dick or whatever, and he's like, he's violating my safe space, I need you to put him in detention, right? And so the good guy would be put in trouble. And like there's at a council meeting where John Kreese, who's like the main bad guy or whatever, is like the main lady
John Cleese from
No.
Monty Python.
But the lady wants like her pronouns to be, she wants to be a congressperson, not a congresswoman. And so when the main protagonist is like, congresswoman, blah, 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 and then the bad guy's like, it's congressperson, and then kind of looks at the congresswoman, and they're just like, she's like, thank you. So they like make a mockery of it because they know it'll get them on their sides, but it's the bad guys using it to their advantage. And like, One last thing is like when they're talking about they made a commercial for like their dojo or whatever, and they were like, "This is cultural appropriation, the music you used," and Daniel LaRusso's like, "This was Mr. Miyagi's favorite song. Like, it's Okinawan. This is where he's from." And it's like always the bad guy or like people against the protagonist that are using like left-leaning things against them, which I don't know. I found it super interesting.
I wonder if that's specifically like a conservative thing or if it's just like either the show just trying to like be self-aware or like it's just like specifically like cancel culture.
I don't know.
Is
There's
taste.
one of the Johnny, who's like the main character, basically, he literally states like several times, he's like, this generation is like full of pussies, and like he uses the word pussy a lot. He's like, this generation's full of pussies, and like there is no safe space out in the real world. There is no, and he like states it multiple times, and so I don't know. I just think it's cool that there's a show out there that's actually willing to say it, and like he's like,
Not just preaching to the choir.
yeah, he's like, our generation's gone too soft. There's gonna be people out there that are gonna want to kick your ass, and if you want to be a pussy about it and get in your safe space and want people to use your pronouns correctly, then whatever. And like he says that, and I'm like, damn, okay. And he's like the main character, which I'm like, okay, that's cool.
My biggest takeaway is just kind of funny how that's even considered a conservative thing. You know
I
what I
know,
mean?
it's sad.
You know what I
I
mean?
feel like there's plenty of people on the left that would also agree with a lot of those sentiments.
I would hope so. But
Mhm.
yeah, that's the thing. It's just
Yeah, but I just don't
people
see
You could I think you can be on either political spectrum and just dislike
A lot
cancel
of-
culture and like the political correctness.
Well, it's
shit.
the whole a lot of that is, I mean, I'm assuming Cobra Kai makes comments on like the whole attack on like masculinity and stuff. I'm assuming a little bit.
Yeah,
But the
they're-
safe space stuff.
Yeah, there is a little bit here and there where they make like subtle comments here and there about it, and
Interesting.
but I've just noticed more and more of that in the show, and I was like, dang, I'm glad that there's a show, whether they're left or right leaning writers or whatever, that's actually willing to say it, because whether they're left or right, everybody dances around things in our culture that are actually happening and not saying it, whether they're for or against it. So I just appreciate that this show does it.
I also just want to like clarify, like we're looking for like I think ideally we're looking for a future where everyone's just kind of neutral, There's kind of a not everyone, but like the playing ground is more neutral, where it's like it's not all shifted to one side or the other.
All values are able to be represented.
Yeah,
So.
not just the ones that exist in
Yeah.
Northern California.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of political movies,
I thought that would be a good transition.
we're going to talk about a movie called Run, Hide, Fight. But first, we're going to take a break and let Kyle have a panic attack.
Politics! Oh no!
5 minutes later.
And then that allows
the dilation is like
my
yeah.
buttered fist to get deeper and deeper into my colon, and then I finally was able to retrieve the toy truck that I lost. So yeah,
Have you tried ranch? I heard ranch is a really good
I
supplement.
have not.
It's kind
but
of spicy.
yeah.
Yeah.
I get really bad heartburn, so
You get heartburn
Yeah.
from ranch being up your ass.
yeah. It's yeah. Mm-hmm.
Welcome back to the dialogue.
So Run, Hide, Fight.
Run, Hide, Fight is a film.
It's a movie.
It's okay. So we don't. I feel like we don't often have to explain what movies are about. The ones what we're talking about, but this is one of those ones that I think would benefit, because if you, there's a good chance you don't know what Run, Hide, Fight
Unless
is.
it's Matt Johnson or Jim Cummings. We have to
Yes.
describe.
So Run, Hide, Fight is like, it's a film on the Daily Wire website. And if you don't know what the Daily Wire is, it's like a conservative, like
Ben Shapiro.
It's where Ben Shapiro works. It's like a conservative media company, kind of. They have their own website, and there's like five. I believe there's like 4 or 5 people who have shows underneath the Daily Wire. Ben Shapiro is definitely the most famous and well known,
Most memeable.
most memeable, and yeah. So they decided they're gonna start making movies and releasing movies. They're gonna be like a production company.
And
Yeah.
IFC, is that correct?
IFC.
Who does the who made them? That did like Brawl and stuff.
Cinestate.
Why was I thinking IFC?
IFC.
Cinestate is the
They do make movies.
conservative production company who has released all of S. Craig Zahler's films.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get there right now. Hold on. They've released Bone Tomahawk, Brawl in Cell Block 99, Dragged Across Concrete, and a couple other really random movies. And then Run, Hide, Fight is the newest. Oh, yeah, and then they did Standoff at Sparrow Creek, which was actually really good. So, yeah, they teamed up with the Daily Wire to release this film. And it's not a Ben Shapiro movie like a lot of people are saying.
He produced it, right?
I don't even think he necessarily produced it. I think it's just underneath the Daily Wire name.
So people think of Ben Shapiro when they think of
Yeah,
the
they
Daily
just
Wire.
think Ben Shapiro made this movie,
Yeah.
even though it's
Yeah.
just the company that he's under.
They technically the Daily Wire didn't even I don't even think they financed it. They just distributed it.
I
they're the
just
distributor.
know they distributed it. Yeah, and yeah, so
It's kind of impossible to talk about this movie without talking about all that story.
I just want to say first and foremost that this movie would not get like a quarter of the hate it gets, or
There's just the attention in
or
general.
the attention, especially negative attention that it gets, if it did not have the words or the phrase words Daily Wire and Ben Shapiro attached to the film.
right.
Because in the grand scheme of things, the movie isn't political.
Yeah, and like Cinestate has already gotten a lot of like hate and controversy for being a conservative media company.
Right.
Which is dumb.
But like all of their movies that they've made, including this one,
Yeah.
aren't even like they're not that political. I mean, like Bone Tomahawk and Brawl in Cell Block 99 really aren't political at all. They just
Brawl-
have like very a different outlook.
Brawl especially, I would argue, is like one of the very few movies I've ever seen that's like objective to a fault. At least from what my point of view. Like it totally is up to you to decide.
There are some
How to feel
things,
about
yeah,
it.
there are some things in Brawl in Cell Block 99 that you could point to and be like, that seems like a more conservative theme, I guess, or I mean, it's just retarded looking at movies like this sometimes, but
Yeah.
You almost have to
Yeah.
in like this day and age.
But I mean, like, there's things you can point to in Brawl, like they kind of portray abortion as like horrific, even though like in that movie, not to spoil things, but like there's a part of the movie where like a woman is getting threatened to be forced to get an abortion against her will, basically, and that's horrific no matter how you look at it.
I don't even think that's a conservative thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But like that's how I think people have painted it in that light in the past, like,
Which
oh,
is fucking stupid because
why does
like,
that have to? Yeah.
whether you believe women should have a right to get an abortion or not, a woman being forced to get
Yeah.
an abortion she
Yeah.
doesn't want is still fucking horrific.
Yeah,
And to sit there and be like, I don't like this movie's agenda because what is her reaction supposed to be like? Fucking sweet. Why didn't you do this to me
Yeah.
sooner?
And then I think another example you could point to, I mean, I think that people kind of make this connection without even realizing it, but like Brawl, Bone Tomahawk, and Dragged Across Concrete all have like more conservative actors, or at least that seem
Yeah.
conservative. Vince Vaughn, Mel Gibson,
That's
Kurt Russell. So like, you know, there's things you can point to, but in reality, they're not like
It doesn't have an agenda.
No.
It's
Yeah.
not telling you
No.
to do something. And
The politics are not the forefront.
Yeah,
Right.
and this movie, without spoiling anything, this is the synopsis, and I don't understand how you can get a political agenda out of this.
I respect your opinion, but I just slightly disagree.
Okay, let
Can you
me
just like open that? Just
let me say my
too much. There you go.
my little synopsis here, and this is what the movie is. There is a school shooting that is occurring, and this female student takes it upon herself to defend herself and her classmates. She takes a weapon from one of the other shooters, and then she helps the other students get out of the building, and she like
And this is how the movie ends. And
Yeah, we're gonna probably spoil the shit out of Run, Hide, Fight, but it's a very straightforward story
Like,
that doesn't really.
It's basically Die Hard in a high school.
There's
don't
not
agree.
there's not a lot you can spoil, so I would encourage you to stick around for Run, Hide, Fight because I think the story around the making of this movie is a little bit more interesting than the movie itself, and then maybe that will inspire you to just want to go watch the movie.
Right.
And to watch the movie, unfortunately, you have to become a member at the Daily Wire. I signed up for 1 month, and it's like $10, so it's essentially like
A movie ticket.
a movie ticket, and then you can just cancel the subscription afterwards if you want. So.
I am hoping that and we could talk a little bit more about this because I think it's an interesting discussion. I do hope that they like release it on like Amazon in like the future or something.
I do too.
So it's not you don't exclusively have to be a Daily Wire subscriber.
I just want to hear your opinion on how you think this is, because when I think of something like Borat 2 is very political, where it literally it had an agenda in which it was like it was like one second it was like okay, we're gonna shit on conservatives, and at the end we're gonna tell you to vote, essentially just being like, go vote for Joe Biden, keep Trump out of office. That was like the agenda. It was propaganda. I don't understand how somebody could call this propaganda, because there doesn't seem to be an agenda, in my opinion.
So I think I'm gonna let you talk. I'm so sorry. I just want to like set the ground rules for this because it's kind of, I don't want it to seem like weird that we've been so critical of all of these left-leaning movies, and now we're talking about a right-leaning movie, and we're like, it's actually not that. Let's try to keep the comparisons to Borat at a minimum, because Borat 2
is the extreme
is
example.
the most extreme example I think all three of us can think of.
You're right. It is unfair to compare like the most extreme. So yeah,
we've made that very clear that we think Borat 2. I mean, I think it's propaganda.
Agree. Yeah.
Because of the vote at the end. That is the tipping point. The whole movie is extremely left leaning, but the tipping point is go vote at the very end. And then you have movies like Vice that I think is we can compare a little bit more, because it's kind of like walking the line.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So again, you get what I meant. We have to keep the Borat out of the discussion.
You're right. You're right.
Okay. So I just have like 40 things to say. So first of all, I feel like we've talked about Borat like a million times, but that's okay. I think Run, Hide, Fight. Again, it's weird thinking, like you've said, it's weird thinking about a movie this way, to say like whether a movie has an agenda or not, because ultimately, if a movie's good, it's trying to manipulate your emotions in some way. It's just whether or not it's influencing you to do something in the real world that's either like political or has some sort of social relevance.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it's kind of tricky, but like it's sort of one of those things where you know it when you see it. In the case with Run, Hide, Fight, I do think it has an agenda. I just don't think it's obviously nearly as overt as Borat 2. But it's also like I think it's more subtle. There are definitely parts. Are we just doing spoilers now? Or are we still want to do like a little bit of a build up?
We're just gonna go for it, because I don't. Again, there really isn't a whole lot.
You can't really talk about this without
can't really-
spoiling it, really.
Yeah. So if you don't want to be spoiled, I understand, but I would still encourage you to listen in, because it's not gonna, like, if you're not, you're either interested in the movie or you're not. You know, I guess so.
So yeah, I think
That doesn't make any sense.
No, I get you. You're good.
I think they know what we meant.
Yeah, you're good. Don't worry about it.
And okay.
All right. Say your point.
Yeah. So throughout the movie, there are like very like obvious like critiques about. Again, it's like calling this an agenda or not is, I guess maybe that's something we can discuss. But there's definitely, it's very upfront about its opinions about the school system and how it's flawed in it, how it decides to protect its students or the lack thereof. I feel like that's a big theme throughout.
But also the police. So I just feel like there's kind of a balance. It shows.
Well, more so. Well, what do you mean by that?
So you said that it showed kind of the flaws in how the school, handles those situations.
I mean that specifically. Well, it does show it, but also like the main villain of the movie. That's like part of like his monologue.
Right.
He says it.
But it's also showing like, I also think the movie was showing how the police in situations like this are underprepared and flawed. How they go about it. So I think there was a balance. Because, like, no police even entered the building, almost the entire movie until the very end. So, like...
That's true.
and they were like they were distracted doing other things.
Well, that's also
before.
a part of the story because in
Yeah.
the beginning, and I thought this was actually one of the more smart parts of the movie, is that like you find out that the students who were planning the school shooting were planning like all these like fake quote unquote fires
Yeah.
throughout to distract the police department, so they were even more underprepared.
Their miscommunication was also key because he was like, "Don't go in the building, don't go in the building." Of course, some of the police officers or a couple go in there and then they like are shot
Yeah.
or like they're caught in an explosion. So it showed miscommunication. It showed I thought it showed not just like, oh, our school system sucks. I think it showed all around there's just like a
Yeah.
poor.
I don't think it's completely like agendaless, but I think the agenda is pretty subtle for the most part, because I think the agenda is essentially like, and it's not necessarily like again, this is sort of like where like my point of view and subjectiveness comes into play of it not being necessarily a bad, but you can disagree with me of like, I mean, I don't know. Do you feel like I feel like the agenda is very clearly like kids should be taught to learn how to defend themselves, and not rely on like the system to, because that's sort of the overwhelming like message that I got from the movie, even though the movie doesn't like stop to be like,
mean,
this is what you should believe.
If someone uses a gun to defend themselves against bad guy, does that mean John Wick has an agenda? Does that mean Die Hard has an agenda?
No,
Does that mean...
but I mean, this movie is obviously framing it in like a school shooting setting, something that's very real that happens, and yes, it has sort of like an action-y, like thriller tone throughout it, but I feel like it's also trying to make like a social commentary, and it's sort of like,
I definitely, the way
it's definitely a conversation starter.
The way you articulated it, I can definitely see.
But it's
that.
not like in your face.
It's not what I took away from it, or at
Okay.
least it's not what like stuck out to me.
Again, I might not even be talking about any of this if the Daily Wire wasn't like slapped on the front of it.
Yeah, that's my thing, is I think if you remove the phrases Daily Wire and Ben Shapiro, then immediately I don't think anybody would be discussing
'Cause
this having an agenda or a propaganda.
Yeah, how do you talk about this movie without talking about the Daily Wire? Because it almost influences your entire viewpoint of how you watch the whole movie.
And I don't understand the Die Hard comparison, because everything in that was like, I mean, I didn't like the dad like sniping from the window. That seemed very Hollywood. But other than that, everything seemed like very real, like it could happen. There was no like Bruce Willis where he's like in a van and he's ejecting himself at the last second to escape an explosion and jumping from a car window to window. Like, I don't see the comparisons at all.
I think
These are things that could happen.
mainly when I think
so.
of the Die Hard comparison, I think of just like their
guns.
No, not just guns. I mean, just like you have like a bunch of people, all takes place in one building, there's hostages, there's a bad guy, and then like the savior of the movie, or the protagonist, is like, is going around, she's on her own and she's talking to the bad guy in the walkie-talkie. Like, that's all Die Hard.
Okay.
Like that's straight out of Die Hard.
I think that the movie actually is just kind of commenting on, kind of like you said, how in general people handle these school shooting situations. And that's, I mean, the movie is political in that way, but it's actually not like overtly right-leaning.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of it is pretty rational stuff.
Yeah.
Like, our schools should be better prepared.
Yeah.
We can all agree on that. Police should be better prepared. We can all agree on that. I mean, there's a part where like the security guard like pisses himself. So it's like, we need better training for the security guards at the fucking
Or more
schools.
security
More
guards,
security
not
guards,
just
better
one.
trained, better, or should they be armed? That might be a more right-leaning thing, but they never say that.
Yeah. I think
But actually,
Yeah, go
I
ahead.
think, and this is actually because I watched the after party show with like with the producer and the director, and
Yeah.
actually, it seems like the bigger thing that they were kind of trying to talk about, that they were all, Shapiro and all of them were like most excited about too, but they were even saying like, it's not really a conservative thing. We have been saying this a lot,
Yeah.
but it shouldn't necessarily be a conservative thing, is the idea of how we because it has the social media aspect, and the whole idea was that I guess conservatives tend to argue that we should not release the names of the active shooters.
Yeah.
Give them
Right.
attention because that's exactly what they want.
I don't
they
even
want
think that's
attention.
necessarily a conservative
Exactly,
value.
and it's not. It's not at all. But I guess it's just something that they tend to argue about, or argue for,
Like it doesn't matter.
because the media does this. You know, the media
Oh.
is
It
just
did.
like
It did say something about the media where they were actually helping the shooters by showing the school and showing
Right.
where the students were
they
escaping.
so desperately want the coverage, but it's like you're just giving the
So
person
I
exactly
think it
what
was
they
a
want.
criticism of everyone.
Yeah,
I don't think it was
I
a
think so,
criticism
too.
of.
Oh, I think this is a big part of like it's being marketed as a movie with conservative values. So automatically you put a certain mindset onto it, and it's like how much of that is the movie, or just the marketing around
But I
it.
honestly don't think that saving students from or saving
Sorry to interrupt you, but the problem is like the reason why it's a movie with conservative values is because it's a school shooting movie that doesn't say we need to implement gun control at the end. That's like if
Yeah,
you know what I mean,
right.
because
But
it
it's
doesn't
not-
do that, it's a conservative
that's the
movie.
thing is what you are it's what you're interpreting from this,
Right, and I agree.
and I hate to like keep going back to Borat, but the thing with an agenda or a propaganda is it's literally clear as day telling you
How to feel, what
like
to do.
like an agenda is yeah, it's like feel this way, do this thing, and with this
but it's
you,
also posing
okay.
as objective. Remember, we came to that conclusion.
okay.
It's propaganda because it's influencing you and telling you what to feel and what to do, but it's also pretending like it's not.
I just don't think this movie is telling you what to do. That's my thing. Is an
Yeah, I
agenda
don't either.
wants you to do something.
I agree.
So I just don't understand. Like
Okay,
honestly,
so maybe agenda is not the right word.
Yeah.
And like I said, agenda, it's hard to figure out how to like determine that.
I mean, like what I don't really know. Like even if it did, I don't really know like what it could specifically tell you to do.
like
you know,
for
like,
yeah.
for me, it's
be
like
brave. That's the only thing I can. think
yeah,
of.
yeah. That's what I was thinking
Well-
of. Is be brave. Is like why is it like an agenda if a student is saving other people from being murdered?
Well, like
I don't-
we've said before, everything's fucking political now.
Yeah, and this,
So like
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right.
yeah.
so it's like how can saving people's lives? Maybe this is like a thing on abortion. Maybe lives don't really matter. Maybe that's what this is about. Those classrooms were metaphors for the egg, the
Yeah,
fetus and shit. And then the children, the students inside were like the babies, and it's like, are they worth saving?
Right.
It's also okay. It's also really
I found it. It's propaganda.
you figured it out. It's fucking.
Hot damn.
It's also interesting because I'm sure you saw a lot of the same shit that I did. Because I watched like the behind the scenes featurette, and the director was not going out of his way to make
No,
a
not
conservative movie. It's just the Daily Wire.
He kind of in the interviews he kind of seems like
Yeah, I saw some of that too.
he's trying to like kind of
Yeah, it's like
yeah, you know, it's just kind of a story, you know, like
yeah.
I mean, that's the good thing about it is it's clearly it was a story first and foremost, and the
Right.
politics kind of came into it.
I think
later.
if Ben Shapiro wrote it himself, it would have been dog shit.
Exactly. But the thing that gives me hope, like about
Yeah.
I don't think any of us thought this was an amazing movie.
No.
But the thing that I appreciated about it, and it gives me hope for more like right-leaning movies, or at least not extreme left-leaning movies,
Yeah.
is that they're trying to tell good stories first, and they all were saying this. Like even Ben Shapiro, who people think is a fucking Nazi, was saying, we don't want to preach, we don't want to make
Yeah.
like
I always find that ironic because Ben Shapiro's Jewish.
yeah, he's a Jew. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So like
He's a Nazi.
He
so-
literally wears a yarmulke
Yeah.
all the time.
If you think Ben Shapiro's a Jew, I feel sorry for you.
he is a
Rhyming.
Jew. He is a Jew.
Or a Nazi. Damn it! I'm stupid! If you think Ben Shapiro's a Nazi, then you suck.
So regardless of what you think of the outcome of this movie, the intent is not to make
Yes.
propaganda or is not to preach to you. The intent is to just make movies that don't go against people's values, I guess. They're very much so trying to appeal to the more blue collar work, like average person, like the like Brawl in Cell Block 99 feels like a very working man movie kind of thing. Like it's very like, you know, You can visualize a room of construction workers watching that
You've
movie.
heard it here
Right.
first. If you're a liberal, you've never had a job.
Like, it's not... It's...
I'm sorry, that's
it's
just
not...
just a funny joke.
It's just trying to... These movies, Cinestates movies, are just trying to appeal to, like, a different demographic than your average movie, and it doesn't make it alt-right.
Yeah.
It doesn't make it,
Yeah.
like... It doesn't even make it a conservative movie. Like, you know, that's the
Yeah.
thing. It's just appealing to different audiences, and it's trying to have a more, like...
I think the most conservative thing about it is, again, this is mostly what I took away from it, is it's the fact that it's like telling kids that they should learn to protect themselves, but because the main character is doing so with a firearm is, I think, what makes it more of a conservative.
Well, and what's interesting, though, is the
Just
movie...
slightly,
the
you know.
movie doesn't really have anything to say about guns.
And
You notice
if
that?
if she had
Yeah,
like
Doesn't really... I mean, she uses a gun,
Yeah,
but I mean,
it's-
like...
if she had gone out
like I said, it's more subtle.
if she had like gone to her house or out to like her car and like pulled out like pump shotgun and like pulled out her own gun, I would have been like, okay.
I really thought they were going to do the good guy with a gun argument. I thought that was going to be the whole movie, but they
But
don't really do that.
Because she took it from one of the shooters, I was like, I don't know. For me, it's like if she would have gone to grab her own gun and come back, then I would have been like, oh, that feels kind of weird. That feels a little agenda-y. But she like just took a gun from like some other, and I was just
Yeah.
like, oh, okay.
You totally could watch this movie without the conservative lens, and it would work fine. I mean,
You should watch it without the conservative
you
lens.
should, but I also totally understand if you can't, because it's it's
name, yeah.
again, it's being marketed as a fucking Daily Wire movie, and also on top of that, currently, like we said before, you have to have a Daily Wire subscription to watch it. So really,
It knows what its audience is.
it's playing exactly to the people that already have those
Yeah.
values.
Yeah.
So it's weird.
You know why? Because then you have stuff like this on Letterboxd, where this is not an atrocious movie. It's not the best thing in the world. I would say it's all right. Like, it's decent.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
even think
It's-
it's like an
it's-
amazing movie.
It's rent
But
worthy.
you look at the reviews, the top-rated reviews on Letterboxd, and they're all like half a star and political.
Oh yeah.
And it's like, do you know? It's so sad that people got a Daily Wire subscription just to knowingly know, like they knew they were gonna shit on it.
or they just pirated it. You
Well,
know, you
I
don't
also
know.
just don't really understand why like we can get like 533
I know.
like left-leaning movies a year, and then like a fucking Cinestate movie releases a school shooting movie that literally just doesn't say we need to implement gun control,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden it's conservative trash, half star. What is the logic behind this?
I don't get it.
Like, it's not like I would be the first to say if it was propaganda, it was propaganda. I mean, like we would call it out. I think we've been gotten pretty good at spotting it, but it's just not a liberal movie. That's
Yeah.
its biggest flaw. Like it's just, I mean, that's their critique. It's so
I think
strange.
people just watch the first 10 minutes where they're hunting and gunning
Yeah.
a deer, and it's like that's fucking
every movie made by like conservatives starts like that, which is
Yeah.
hilarious. But it's like it's so not overt and offensive and controversial whatsoever.
It's not.
It's literally just saying, hey, we could do a better job
There's-
with these school shootings, and
There's even
fucking,
like a
Christ.
subplot. I mean, it's not the best subplot in the world, where she's like coping with like her mother who passed away, like of cancer, and like someone who's like is trying to do something with a character. They're not trying to throw anything in your face. They're trying to be like, all right, here's her character arc where she's slowly getting over
It's a story.
her mother's
It
death.
is a story,
If you were really trying to push something, like you wouldn't try and do that character moment stuff.
And I think I agree. Like you said, like if you strip away the names on this movie, you just showed somebody objectively. I don't necessarily think they would like the movie. I just don't think they would. The politics would come into it at all, because
Right.
if you watch this literally not knowing what it is,
But it's unfortunate that it has to be put under. I mean, it's sort of its greatest strength and its greatest weakness, the fact that Daily Wire is slapped on the front of it.
no, you're totally right.
Because,
I mean,
like, if it was just a movie on Amazon that was like, oh, okay, this looks kind of interesting, and then somebody watched it, was like, it's fine. Like, it probably wouldn't even have nearly, like, any of this
I've said
discussion.
this once and I'll say it again. If you see a political movie and it has like a mediocre to bad review, don't take it as like, oh, the movie's mediocre or bad. Take it as like, whether it's left leaning or right leaning, take it as like, oh, someone disagreed or agreed with this message. I never ever go on political movies by what the score is, because it's never actually about the movie. It's how a person is butthurt about it.
Okay, go ahead.
I was just saying, now I think would be a good time to like put our money where our mouth is, because we have been talking about the political side of it. I feel like none of this would fucking matter if the movie was terrible.
Yeah.
It's not.
But the movie's actually like decent. The acting is okay. The acting for me was like a little bit like this.
The main chick, Isabel May, I think her name is, she was really good.
I wonder how much of that is the direction and the script. I think you might disagree, but I definitely think the directing and like the cinematography and everything, like the production of the movie, is definitely like stronger than the actual like script, like
I agree with
the
that.
movie on paper.
I agree with that.
I still don't think that'd be fair to like discredit the actor, because you could definitely, especially with I'm
not saying
the main shooter guy, you could have easily made that like cheesy, over the top. I thought.
See, this is where me and you disagree. I
Didn't you agree with me that he was really good?
I thought he was good.
And I thought it was really smart to make him kind of likable and charismatic.
I think he's
to make him seem like a normal
far
person.
better than the writing is, and I think that like
it's not the actor's fault. It's just how the character's portrayed.
I thought the actor did great, and that was his first role.
I thought he elevated
in movies.
the lines a lot. I thought the best part of the movie was the main performance by the girl, and then I thought he was really good too. And I was like, it was just like, I was like, don't go, don't. Oh, okay. Like I was on the tightrope, kind of.
It was straddling that line.
Yeah,
a
but
little
I
bit.
think
with
the main guy, or with the villain.
Again, that's how it's hard not to call him a villain, because he kind of is. I mean, he's like
he just I thought he did as good as he could have done, and he was like, he had that like that douchey charm that I think a character like that should probably have.
To me, he felt a little bit too like movie villain, and that's again, I think that's more so just like the writing. It's not the actor's fault. The actor does fine. It's just sort of, it feels like a typecasted thing that we've seen a million times, where it's like the bad kid that's up to no good. And it felt a little Hollywood. But that's the weird thing about this movie, is it's like, it's not unrealistic. Like Mike has said, everything that happens in this movie could happen in the real world. Nobody like jumps off a 50-foot building and then lands on their feet like unscathed. There's nothing like that.
Skyscraper stuff.
But it's more so like the vibe, if that makes sense. The characterization, sort of the tropes and stuff. Like the only part that really like made me go, okay, this was kind of bad, was, and this is just for me, like the last like 10 minutes of the movie, when like the main villain guy's escaping and like the girl goes to get her dad's like sniper, and he's got like a thing under the, like, to like skip town and change his name, and she just like murders him in cold blood, and it was like, that wasn't what we were doing this whole time. Like the rest of the movie, she's shooting other people to protect them, but then at the end they just throw all that away just to make her a murderer, and then it was like, our message is a little skewed. But again, the majority of the movie is pretty thoroughly entertaining. I didn't know this until I watched the special features. I know I'm kind of all over the place, and I apologize. But all the special effects and everything were all practical, like the explosions and everything, which is really cool. And they actually did a really good job on that. The cinematography might be the best part of the movie.
Yeah, it's really good.
It's gorgeous.
That's why I think like it's nearly impossible to give this movie half a star. Like if I even think a movie shot well, or there's even like one great performance, or the music's good, like it at least gives like 1 star at least.
It's a solid like 6.5, 7 out of 10.
Yeah. So I don't know, if it just really bugs me a lot that people were giving this half a star when they don't realize the work that like these actors put in, the cinematographer put in. Like there was actually some good shit in this, and you can't just throw something away simply because you disagree with some non-existent agenda.
Yeah, I don't really have a whole lot to say about the movie in itself. I mean, it was pretty good. I'm glad I watched it. It's not something I'm going to be thinking about for a long time. It's more what it represents that
Yeah.
And I do want to say that I think I think I'll speak for Gage here. When we actually thought it was going to be kind of bad going into it, we were like, oh, this is going to be...
I think we all kind of did.
Yeah, we all kind of went into it thinking it was going to be pretty bad, and,
I mean, it could have been a lot better.
It could have been a lot worse.
It could have been a
also.
lot worse. Yes,
Yeah.
it could have been. Yeah, exactly. That's the thing.
Yeah.
It's like, it was. I think it was a good place to start if Daily Wire wants to go ahead and make movies going forward, and I hope they continue on the trend. I mean, at least I don't think this is extremely preachy, and I hope they continue to go down that route because I think that's where right-leaning movies tend to fuck up is they go into the God's Not Dead route, and it's more like Christian movies where it's like you have to do this or you're going to hell, like,
Again, I think we should talk about movies like God's Not Dead on the
agree.
podcast.
I agree,
because I have a lot to say about
I
that.
still remember watching that in youth group.
and I mean that's where right-leaning movies have always struggled is like telling a story first and letting the things come later instead of just let's start off of this little piece of agenda.
Well,
that
that's
we
what
have here.
filmmakers do. Like, without political, like, ideologies that they're trying to, it's like you're setting things up so people can have a conversation about them. You're not going like, this is what it is, and this is how you should feel about it. I'm Sean Hannity from Fox News, like fucking...
Tenet is trying to tell us all to send things back in reverse. It's their agenda. They want us to do it.
Reverse racism. That's what bothers me is like you get movies from Eastwood and Zoller from Cinestate movies or Mel Gibson movies, and people automatically, because of who made the movie, they hate it. And I think that's where the difference comes from, at least from us. Like, I look at a movie like Vice that I know is like a pretty left-leaning movie.
Yeah.
And I know Adam McKay is a pretty left-leaning guy. But, like, I really want to like Vice. In fact, I like most of Vice, and I'm so fucking mad that I can't like it more because of the ending. We've talked about that. But so that's the thing. I think there's it is a little bit one-sided in the sense where, like, I'm definitely not gonna check out immediately. Like we all tried so hard to like Borat 2, and it's.
And there are parts about Borat 2 that are funny, but they don't even reach the.
Go watch our Borat 2.
Yeah.
You're not gonna see a right-leaning version of like Avengers Endgame where all the women like.
I'm sorry. Now I'm just thinking of like. Just imagining like a team of like you got Ben Shapiro, you got Alex Jones.
But like you're not gonna see a right-wing version of that where it's like all these women standing together being like, "We got your back." You're not. You only see left-leaning versions of that.
Well, right or left, that scene was stupid, but
yeah, it's dumb. So I guess my whole thing is like, if you should not shrug a movie off because of the person who made it, and if you're only gonna seek out movies made by people with this, like, the exact same values as you, like,
you're not growing. Then
what's the fuck is the point of watching
You're
movies?
not challenging yourself. You're not challenging your ideals. There's
the whole idea is to learn a new perspective.
If you want to sit in an echo chamber, then go ahead, be a retard. Like, I don't care.
Exactly. That's exactly what I'm saying. So, you don't have to go watch Run, Hide, Fight if you don't want to, obviously.
Lord.
But if you are very interested after this discussion, again, it is on thedailywire.com. We're not sponsored by Daily Wire. We don't have any affiliation.
Daily Wire.
But that's literally just how you watch it. It's like...
I do really hope that eventually it ends up on like Amazon or something.
Me too.
Because honestly, like, it kind of defeats the purpose that the movie's even trying to...
Yeah.
To like,
I kind of wish it had just come straight to Amazon Prime without like Daily Wire or Ben Shapiro attached.
Because then there's all this fucking baggage.
I guarantee you, like, this average score on Letterboxd would be like at least like a 2.9 or something if it wasn't on Daily Wire.
And with that,
Lockdown, a movie about an ex-couple who is forced to live together because of the coronavirus, and they decide to go steal a diamond together.
Yeah, it's
That's
on
that.
HBO Max.
so we watched it
We tried
kind of.
So we tried to watch it like together. The
Yeah.
first hour was so utterly boring. Like, I've never been so disinterested in a movie. It should have been a half-hour short film. But I just, dear God, that first hour is just like, let's just... I don't even know what they were
You could
thinking.
tell Mike was bored because he was trying to have sex with me.
Hell yeah. But then, the last, like, 30 minutes is actually, like, really entertaining and really interesting and good. It's just the first hour and a half is appalling.
I think the reason why we watched this movie is because I thought it would. It's about it takes place during the COVID lockdown, so like I assumed, hey, this might be political. It might be like a good,
Back-to-back feature.
back to back with Run Hide Fight. I don't know, because most COVID movies.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just assumed it would be a little bit political, but no. Not at all. And honestly, I was like kind of disappointed because if your movie's going to take place during COVID, like, are you going to do anything with it? It doesn't really do anything. I mean, like, it doesn't need...
Feels a little bit like a...
I think it's dumb to make movies about COVID in general, but what I mean is if you're going to do it, at least fucking use it.
I swear to God, if I see one more fucking Zoom call in a movie,
I know.
I'm gonna lose it.
I know. I'm going to lose it too.
I kid you not, I feel like the first hour of that movie
It is
is just
yeah.
Zoom calls, and you want to
Business-
kill your
business mumbo jumbo.
Zoom calls. You want to kill yourself.
Anne Hathaway speaking in, like, Shakespearean, like...
Dialect.
That's another thing with this movie.
What art thou, Paxton?
This whole movie is like... And this is really upsetting because... the screenwriter's name sounds familiar, but I know he wrote stuff. He wrote Locke, didn't he?
Stephen Knight. He's
What does he
written a
look
lot
like?
of movies.
What does he look like? Because I feel like he... Okay, never mind. He's not who I thought he was.
And Doug Liman directed this, which is so...
Doug Lyman, but yeah.
So, so
Have
he
you heard his
wrote
name
he
said
wrote
before?
Pawn Sacrifice. He wrote Locke, which we really like.
Burnt is a great movie.
Is it better than Chef?
I liked it more than Chef.
Yeah, and the director also did the Tom Cruise movie, the Live, Die, Repeat.
Yeah, Edge of Tomorrow, and he did some of the Bourne movies, and he did Swingers.
You just watched Swingers, and
Swingers,
you really
yeah.
liked it.
Yeah.
I'm really glad you like Swingers.
Yeah, I love Swingers.
So money, baby. You
Yeah.
don't even know.
So Locke, he wrote and directed Locke, which is literally like one of my favorite movies ever.
So the writer and the director both made stuff that like me and Gage like
Yeah.
have liked, and it was just
Yeah.
disappointing to just feel.
And I didn't find that out until
I really like the director, too.
the director's a great director.
I think
The people who made this movie are like talented people. It's like
the main actress. I mean, I know we're kind of critical of Anne Hathaway, but like I mean, they're both like pretty good actors. It's just like
The dialogue's too weird. I don't know how you can work with that.
the dialogue is
Such a good podcast.
it was bad. I don't like it. Let's just always say no. The dialogue is like always. I feel like I articulated it perftly. We were watching
It sounds
the movie.
so
Performed.
inhuman. Like it sounds like
Yeah,
it's theatrical.
not only does it sound unnatural, it's like it's bringing in too much attention to itself.
It's not how any two
That's-
humans ever speak to each other ever. It literally seems like they're on a stage.
It sounds like somebody who's writing their first screenplay being like,
Look at me! I can write dialogue!
I know big words.
well, there's lots of
so scenes that should take like 2 minutes take like 20 minutes.
the thing is like there are parallels between this script and the script for Locke. Like it's very interesting because it all works for Locke, but it doesn't really work here. And
like it felt like lock scraps.
like we were talking about how like the first hour of this movie is just them talking about their company, and we're just like,
Yeah,
what are
I
they-
did not
Yeah.
care.
Like literally just tune out. I don't even know.
and
what
and
they're
you know
talking
what
about.
it was all about? One guy got fired, and like
Yeah.
that was like you could literally do that in like one
Wow.
little.
But Locke
scene.
has the same thing where it's like the whole like most of the movie he's on the phone talking about fucking concrete. Why is it good? I don't know. I honestly couldn't tell you why.
Well,
Tom Holland's in Locke.
Locke is good because there's more to it.
Yeah, there's
Yes, you have the stuff with the relationship in this movie, but like they don't really even fully like start to explored until like the last like 20 minutes of the movie.
Their relationship isn't interesting at all until the last like 20 to 30 minutes.
My biggest gripe is just that it takes place during COVID and the lockdowns and everything, and then it's like this. The whole selling point was a heist movie during COVID, the COVID quarantine, but like this movie, I feel like it doesn't even need COVID to exist.
Yeah, no, it felt like a script that was already being written and then COVID happened
Yeah.
and they just went back and tried to implement it somehow. And yeah, a lot of this movie is business mumbo jumbo, and you can tell the people who wrote it think it's more interesting than it actually is.
And it also just annoys me so much too, like the whole like he couldn't leave because of lockdown and shit. Just go stay with a fucking friend or something.
Well, again,
I know we said this at the beginning. Oh, what if the rules were different? Because I think this is in London.
yeah, this is
What if the rules were different? I don't know. But they literally leave the apartment later in the movie and go to a fucking museum or whatever.
Yeah.
So obviously they can leave. Like, just go stay with somebody else. It's like we have to. It's like it's like a horror movie where like they can't like they're in a house that's haunted and they can't leave, but they're trying to like write them into like not being able to leave.
Well, in the beginning, they set up that one of them had been infected, but then, of course, they just drop it because, the characters don't give a shit because they're robbing something. Yeah. But then at the end of the movie, they're like, lockdowns for another 2 weeks, you can't leave.
Yeah.
So, it doesn't make any sense.
That doesn't make sense.
A really weird comparison.
But neither does
Isn't
lockdown.
that weird that I have a really weird comparison? I never have those. So you know in history class you watch like all these like old World War II movies?
Yep.
I guarantee you in like 30 years,
Oh man.
like kids are gonna have to watch shit like in college and high school, shit like Lockdown, where they're gonna have to be like, this is the movies that were made during the time. This is what you're going to have to watch. This is what kids are going to have to study. They're going to have to write an essay on how Lockdown, was. I guarantee you that they're going to be watching these movies in history class. And that's what this is like, seems like it's meant for, because history movies are always so fucking boring. So it's like, this movie is like perfect for a history class.
I think we're making it out this movie is like Micah's idea of what Wonder Woman 84 is, which we've already
What?
like it's god awful. I think what makes it worse is that it's just so like
I don't think it's god awful.
it's just so flat, which almost it would be more entertaining if it was more
I would rather
bad.
watch
Exactly.
I would rather watch this than Wonder Woman 1984, I'll tell you that.
I would too.
No, I very much enjoyed like the last 30 minutes for some reason.
Yeah, me too.
Because shit actually starts to happen.
And they
I thought this was like whatever.
yeah.
they kind of become characters towards the end, and
Yeah.
they're kind of like their dynamic
It
starts working
flats
better
for the most of the part.
Yeah, and like I don't know, like I would have much preferred. And the funny thing is, like the last 30 minutes are the part that I'm like not necessarily interested in story wise on paper, but it's the most interesting executed.
Yeah.
Like I do like the idea of like two people who just broke up being locked in a house together, forced to stay with each other, and then like forces them to like face their problems.
Their character dynamic is, but
yeah.
like the note that the movie ends on as far as their relationship goes is like, oh, they just need a little excitement in their lives, and but like
Just try Doggy, like
Retarded.
how the fuck am I supposed to just keep going after that?
Linda, we both had orgasms.
Oh yeah,
The best line in movie history.
at the beginning. You
There's just a casual line
They're on
thrown
a
in
Zoom
there.
call with Anne Hathaway's in a Zoom call with some female on there, and she's just like, "Do you remember that night back in
When we had drinks.
when we had drinks and blah blah blah?" And Anne Hathaway's like, "Oh yeah, whatever, it's not a big deal." And then she's just like, "We both had orgasms, Linda." And then it's just, that was the best part of the movie.
We were thinking about that the whole movie.
Yeah.
And joking about how like just like that line. What if that line kept coming up? Like every person she runs into.
We both had orgasms,
We
Linda.
both had orgasms, Linda.
It was just the
The thing is, if it wasn't for that line, I would not remember this chick's name because
She says it with such fucking confidence.
and such calm. Where she's,
Yeah.
we both had orgasms, Linda.
I mean, Jesus, we both had orgasms. You didn't feel me?
Did you hear that later in the movie where she tells?
Yeah, in the elevator.
Yeah. I was like, all right.
All right.
I'm out of the elevator now. I can't
don't
tell
know.
you.
I liked the cinematography.
poems.
Both these movies had very good cinematography.
Yeah, this movie looks good.
I liked the acting, even though the story around it was kind of meh. I like little things. They're like little like screenwriter things that it's like I appreciate that they took the time to do that. Where it's kind of like, because I noticed this because I was watching the last like half hour at your house before we recorded, and like at the end when they're actually, I guess we're spoiling it. Who fucking cares? It's locked down. Nobody cares.
You're not gonna watch this.
It's you know, when they're thinking about, it's the moment where they're stealing the diamond and she's got like the thing open and he's holding, it's almost like, you know, like he's proposing to her a little bit. Mm-hmm. Like it's meant to, like I felt like that was intentional to be like a thematic thing.
I see.
Like it's like the whole thing's almost metaphorical of like, all right, this is where we decide if we want to keep going with this or if we want to actually go our separate ways. And it's like it's kind of cool if you can watch the movie through that lens, but again, it's like,
I don't know.
that's like, that might not be intentional, but it's just something that I saw that I thought was kind of clever.
I don't know if it was because I was folding laundry while watching this or what, but oh my gosh, I got so much anxiety and just anxiousness when he stuck his hand in the water and the piranhas were coming at his hand. I was like sitting there with my laundry. I was just like, oh God.
Because they stand there for like a good like couple minutes. You're
I
just
was
like, fucking go!
Dude, the last there's like a solid 5 to 10 minutes where I was like stressed out for them. I was like, oh God, get out! I think I was literally yelling at my TV. I was like, go!
I think this movie's biggest.
But if it wasn't, gosh, it's so good at that point. Everything before is.
This movie didn't need to be 2 hours, and I think that's part of it. I think because once they start talking about the heist, that should have been like 30 to 40 minutes into the movie, not like hour and a half into the movie.
I'm telling you, this would have been a fantastic half-hour short film.
The build-up is like way too fucking long.
I think the best part of the movie for me is Chiwetel Ejiofor.
What?
The main guy.
Bless you.
The main guy.
Oh, the main guy?
Yeah, he's a good actor.
Yeah, he's really good in it.
He was kind of goofy.
Unfortunately, Anne Hathaway seems to be playing like the same like.
So Anne Hathaway playing a moody bitch who's like supposed to be hot. That's like every Anne Hathaway role like she's done for the last like 10 years.
I mean, you said it more bluntly than I would.
I did not say. Hang on. I did not say Anne Hathaway is a bitch.
Not just scream into the mic, pal.
I was just taking a sip of my coffee.
She does play like a very like.
Yeah.
I mean, this whole movie, she's like,
Okay, Pax, here's the thing. I'm
Yeah.
Quentin Tarantino.
Pretty accurate.
what's going on here? What's going on here? Can you not talk to me? All right, listen here, Paxton. Because it's just so much fun, Paxton. Get it?
There's some weird lines in here.
both had orgasms. Linda.
We both had orgasms.
I
Yeah.
remember I thought it was funny that like when that happened, you were like, "This is a fucking horror movie." That was horrifying.
We both had orgasms, Linda. Bum, 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 bum. Wait, that's not horror.
All right,
What the
so
fuck?
if you want to go watch Lockdown, it's on
Don't.
HBO Max.
Just skip, honestly, just skip to like...
Do it while folding laundry.
Yes, fold laundry and skip to like an hour and a half in, and that's like when they actually start to do the heist. And then you'll have a good time.
There's also a funny joke at the beginning. It's also in the trailer when, like, he's going to the shop and the guy walks out with the toilet paper. He's like, "How many asses have you got?" Fuck off.
Oh, that was funny.
That was funny.
That was funny.
That was funny.
All right. Well, let's move on to some questions. How about that?
Okay.
Some
All
fucking retard named MD Mays asked a question.
Who's that?
What are some classic movies you haven't seen yet? I'm not reading the rest.
You know why?
Because it's
For
just targeting
example, Titanic, The Karate Kid, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, etc.
What are some classic movies you haven't seen? Are you calling out Gabe?
me. Yeah, he's
Yeah,
calling out me because
yeah.
because God fucking forbid I haven't seen
Forgive.
the goddamn Karate Kid.
And Willy Wonka and Titanic.
Jesus Christ! I might as well just fucking like shoot myself.
And
now.
he hasn't seen the Toy Story series.
Yes, I watched them when I was a kid. I've said this a million
You
times.
haven't watched 4 or 3.
I have seen 3.
You haven't seen
when I was a
4?
kid. I don't care. It's not a classic. It came out like 2 years ago.
Micah hasn't seen Breaking Bad, so I mean,
Yeah, fuck you.
you're both equally
I've tried
guilty.
to watch it. I've watched like 3 episodes of Breaking Bad. Couldn't get into
What
it.
are some actual classics that I haven't seen? Well, I have not seen The Godfather. There's one that I really
Okay.
want to watch.
I haven't seen. Sorry, I haven't seen like Vertigo or a lot of those like Kubrick, Hitchcock movies.
I still have to watch like Clockwork Orange, like we talked about.
I'd actually think you'd like Willy Wonka just because of Gene Wilder's performance.
Okay.
Don't watch A Clockwork Orange with Sid.
Willy Wonka. I won't. Yeah, and I want to watch. I mean, I still need to watch some of like the classics, like fucking Citizen Kane and Casablanca and stuff.
Ben-Hur.
I haven't seen Casablanca.
Lawrence of Arabia, all those fucking 3-hour 50s and 60s
hold on,
movies.
let me fucking...
I think The Godfather is like the biggest one that like I'm kind of like not necessarily ashamed, but I'm like should probably watch that fucking movie.
Yeah, I've seen that. I haven't seen the second one. I know the second one's
I've
considered,
only seen the first one.
You think I would like The Godfather?
I liked it, so...
Yeah, okay.
I mean, I know that, like, if I like a 3-hour movie with a lot of dialogue, then, like, damn.
Shit.
It makes sense why it's so highly regarded. It's pretty... Okay, I haven't seen...
Have you seen Gone with the Wind?
No.
Do you ever plan on it?
Yeah.
It's like 4 hours.
Let's see. I'm trying to think of... I haven't seen Goodfellas. I haven't seen Casino.
I've not seen
Scarface,
Casino.
A lot of those old gangster movies. A Fistful of Dollars.
Yeah, I have a lot of like.
I love how this
old gangster movies.
question making fun of you turned into like an actual thing.
It's a good
I mean,
question.
you would be surprised how many movies I haven't seen that are like regarded as classics.
Oh, I haven't seen like 12 Angry Men. A lot of those 50s and
12 Angry
60s.
Men's are really good, and it's
like,
only an hour
classics.
and like 20 minutes.
The
too.
Graduate, I want to watch. I'm just looking at my watch list. There's too many of these. Raging Bull.
12 Angry Men would be really fun to talk about.
Raging Bull is so boring.
John
Nah.
says, "Have you seen Spike Lee's 25th Hour? I highly recommend it."
I don't even know what that is.
Yeah, I've never actually heard of it.
I know it stars Edward Norton.
Also,
Oh.
it's directed by Spike Lee, and all of the movies that like I've seen like glimpses of, could not care less. So
Yeah, I'll probably have to watch some Spike Lee movies eventually. Definitely not at the top of my priority list. But
I've seen. I think the only Spike Lee movie I've watched is
Do the Right Thing.
Yeah, Do the Right Thing, which I liked. Spike Lee. Here's the thing about Spike Lee. I think I've again. It's a weird thing where it's like I'm doing the thing where I imagine I'm going to like something that I haven't even watched yet, or I dislike, or whatever. But what I've gathered from Spike Lee, it's like I think I like his movies more than him as a person. Because I think he gets a little, I don't know. It says stuff I don't necessarily agree with, but it's like his movies, like, you can interpret a different message from it. I don't know. Anyway,
fun fact,
I want to watch Black Klansman.
Spike Lee. I watched that movie. Spike Lee wrote the story mode to NBA 2K16, so
That's random as fuck.
I know it's NBA 2K16 Living the Dream, a Spike Lee joint.
Wow. All right, John also asks, and I was supposed to think of an answer for this, and I fucking never did. So.
Maybe we should watch that movie and talk about it on the podcast. Just a fan actually asked.
Maybe.
Mm.
What's a singular movie that you think would possibly work having a prequel?
Willy Wonka.
I have pondered on a prequel for Old Country for Old Men, mainly focused on Javier Bardem's character, because he had connections to the cartel. So, prequels to movies, what do you think would
This
be the
is
best?
tough.
Before we talk about that, I feel like I just need to watch An Old Country for Old Men, because this is like the third time it's been brought up, and I'm like, I haven't seen it, don't spoil it!
Yeah, you should. I don't fucking know. Man, I should
This
have
is
thought
tough.
about this. Why don't I
Yeah.
ever think about this?
Yeah.
Yeah, let me kind of look around here.
Oh. I mean, A Quiet Place, but they're kind of already doing that with A Quiet Place Part 2, where they're flashing back or whatever.
Okay. Interesting. Let's look here.
Oh my gosh. I hate this, but this is actually really funny. They've been talking about Shrek 5 for forever, and Shrek 5 is supposed to be like how Shrek came to live at the swamp. It's a prequel. It's so dumb.
It's Shrek, who gives a shit?
I know.
How do you think he developed that land property? I mean,
He's not even the same character that he is in like 1 through 4. He'd still be like the mean ogre. You can't really have an arc with that, I feel like.
I'm just trying to think of a movie that kind of starts in the middle of its story,
Yeah.
you know? But it's tough. So
Yeah, this is tough because a lot of them don't.
I feel like for some reason I want to say Cloverfield, but I have like no fucking idea how you would do that.
Wait, what did I say that was?
I want more
Quiet
good
Place?
Cloverfield movies, you guys. What the hell?
I like 10 Cloverfield Lane.
Dude, I just thought of one.
Huh.
Even though probably shouldn't do it. But like I was thinking, stories that start in the middle of its story is like John Wick. Like there's
Shit.
so much shit that they hint at.
I bet you they're gonna do it.
But like I just don't want movies in the John Wick universe like they're trying to do. Just make a fucking John Wick movie.
Yeah.
You know? That would be kind of interesting.
I think it'd be really interesting if they made a like a prequel to the original Star Wars, because I feel like we haven't seen that.
Oh yeah. We need like
A prequel to the prequel. Episode -1.
That's basically the Old Republic video game. I have
I
no
don't know.
fucking idea.
I know they're doing a Die Hard prequel also, where they're gonna use like technology to make Bruce Willis look younger, like they did with Samuel L. Jackson and Captain Marvel.
Oh.
Yeah.
no comment.
Here's what we could do.
What about
If we don't...
Inception? No.
I guess my answers will be Cloverfield or John Wick. I don't know.
I guess A Quiet Place, but they're already kind of doing that in the second one, so I don't know.
I don't have a goddamn clue.
Okay, moving on. Final question from Jesse, and ending on a fun one.
Okay.
How much money would it take for you to run over a person?
That's...
Like, kill them?
Oh?
I don't know. It's a good question. Does the person die? How about we give both answers? If the person lives, would you go to jail? Like, I don't fucking know. You know?
What if it was like me and you, we came to an agreement where it's like $1 million, but we split $500,000. Like, you were in on it with the person.
Okay.
You would run over somebody for $500,000?
Dude, if
If they lived.
Oh,
I-
yeah.
I-
Would they die?
Like,
Or would you just hit them with your car? Or would you go... and then,
mean-
like, fucking back over them, like, 30 times?
I mean, it just says hit them with the car, so if you
Just
just...
run over them.
Oh, run over? Shit, so you'd have to go under the
Yeah.
wheels.
Yeah.
If they lived, $1 million. But I wouldn't do it if they died. Because I'd probably just
If
go
they
to jail.
lived, like...
I don't think... I
Like,
think I'm just too guilty.
$750?
I don't think I could do it.
Because
in
if they
general.
lived,
Like
if they
$7.50.
lived, I would split the money with them. If they lived, I'd
Hell
split the money
yeah.
with them. So I'd pay for all their medical bills.
Just to run someone over?
Yeah, you hurt them enough, you're gonna be paying mostly just for their fucking medical bills. So
would
it's sort of a
say-
catch-22.
And I'm gonna make the person sign a contract that says they can't sue me afterwards.
I would say $750,000.
I wouldn't do it, because I have too much of a guilty conscience.
Okay.
Probably end up in, like, I'd spend all that money on therapy.
I would run over Jesse for free though. Just joking.
Hell yeah.
Damn.
Jesse would like it. He's weird.
The fuck? I'm into that.
Thank you.
That's what's up.
Anyway,
Yeah,
this has been our podcast. This is the dialogue.
Don't forget to follow us on Letterboxd, and we're also...
Instagram,
Twits?
Twitter.
I love Titter.
Have you seen my dog? He ran away from home.
Please.
Wait, did he not actually come back?
No.
I thought you were joking.
My parents are gonna be mad.
Oh shit, Jake's out there.
He's out there.
Stinky boy Jake.
Stinky boy Jake.
If you see a big old black dog with a tongue that has like that's like molding, like let us know.
His name is Jake. He has a blue collar. So if you find him in Nebraska, give us a shout.
Nebraska.
Your dog looks like Charlton Copley in District 9 and like halfway through his transition.
I was gonna say he looks like the black dog in Isle of Dogs.
Yeah, I can see that. It's just like when I think of your dog, I just think of doesn't he have like 2 different fucking eye colors?
No.
That's what I think of when I think of your dog. Like one eye is just like red and the other is like light blue. I don't know. He just looks like he's just been.
He's stupid.
Did you run over your dog with a car for money? Because it looks
Don't
like
tempt me.
It looks like it. Wouldn't surprise me.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Cats are better than dogs.
Before we end this podcast, I just want to talk about your dog Jake, who's like very old, and I don't know if you've ever been over at his house when this has happened, but I guess your dog is so old that he can't control his bladder.
No, he can't anymore.
So, like, we'll just like I'll just like be eating like something at his house, and then his dog walks into the living room.
He
We're like,
waddles
hey,
in and just-
hey Jake, and then he just pees. Like a full fucking bladder of pee, like on the floor.
and then walks away.
And it pisses
and then Mike is just like is just that's what's up. That's what happens. Like it's fucking normal. And I'm
it
just like that's
pisses me off
disturbing.
because we'll take him outside to like go to the bathroom. We leave him out in this big old kennel to go pee and poop, and we'll leave him out there for like 6 hours. He comes inside, pees and poops the second he gets inside. Like he waits to come inside. It's like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
He's so senile. It's sad because he's cute, but he's
disgusting.
Smells like shit.
We just gave him a bath too, so it's like
Your dog just is
AIDS.
just AIDS. When you get
Have you
AIDS,
seen my dog AIDS?
when you get AIDS, you turn into Jake.
Your dog is like if a used needle had a
Ew.
conscience.
That poor dog.
I'm gonna walk up to Jake if he ever returns, and I'm gonna say, "You reek of shit." Do you know that?
He returns every time, and every time I'm like, dear God, just go away.
He's so cute,
He
but he's so
pisses and
gross.
shits and
You know what you should do?
vomits.
I have a great solution. Bring your dog over to my dad's house, and we'll let my dad's dogs go to town.
My gosh, Gage! Damn.
There's another story. While we're talking dog stories,
This isn't going.
No, I wanted to
My,
go on the podcast.
Oh, this is so.
my dad has 3 dogs.
This is so
the
sad.
2
Don't.
big ones attacked the little one
my
about a
God.
month ago.
Wait, so now he has 2 dogs.
So now he has 2 dogs. Yeah,
I thought he was getting rid of him.
I thought so too. I don't know.
What the fuck?
I don't know. We'll see.
Jake's like blind, deaf.
Well, that's the thing. We should put him out of his misery.
Honestly.
And my dad's dogs haven't had a good meal ever since the.
Yeah.
How can you of all people be joking about this?
Because
This is like never mind.
Yeah, let's not get into
Never
that,
mind.
Kyle.
I know it's Micah's thing.
It's
Oh
too
yeah.
much dirty
If you guys
laundry.
if you guys know who I am and you guys have been watching, if you guys have ever watched my other channel, you remember Jack the suicidal dog, and that's the dog who passed away. So let's take a moment of silence for Jack.
Poor Jack.
Jack and Jake, man, people are
For
just.
Jack, the underbite, stinky, ugly 16-year-old dog who was unfortunately became a German Shepherd
Dude,
lunch.
I think my dog is 16 years
I
old.
said a moment of silence.
In the arms of
An
the angel.
I'm just sad. This isn't even funny. This is just sad.
If you see my dog Jake,
Does
please.
it- doesn't-
Wait, ask
Send-
questions.
Send us money, and the proceeds are gonna
Yeah.
go to the
The funeral.
the humane shelter,
It's gonna go to my car repairs when I run them
Um,
over.
aka my wallet.
All right, ask questions in the comments down below. Rank all 3 of us favorite to least favorite.
Yeah, let's do that.
Rank me, Kyle, and Gage favorite to
Yeah.
least favorite.
It's amazing how downhill this podcast went just in the
And
last.
don't hold back. We want your honest opinions.
God, don't do
Rank
that.
us.
Dude, I will not blame you if you put me last because I'm aware of my obnoxiousness. So, like, if I'm last, I won't be butthurt. But if I'm first, hey, you found a new best friend.
I'm too sensitive.
If I'm last, I will delete the channel. I'm just joking. No pressure. No.
Hey,
And if
Don't.
Kyle's last, he's gonna stop eating.
Okay, we need to. we need to.
If Mike is last, he's gonna like run over his dog.
Okay, all right. This is our podcast, everyone. Bye.